Good morning, Coach Slack here once again, continuing our readings on the ascetical homilies of St. Isaac the Syrian. We are working our way through Homily 4, day 28, I believe, page 142. Do not extol the man who endures bodily hardship and yet gives free rein to his senses. I mean that of hearing, and whose mouth is gaping and intemperate, and eyes roaming. If you make it a rule for your soul to practice deeds of mercy, accustom your soul not to seek your justification in other works, lest you find yourself scattering with one hand what you have gathered with the other. For solicitude is necessary in the first instance, whereas breadth of heart in the second. Be it known to you that to remit our debtors their sins is one of the works of righteousness. Then you will see tranquility and luster throughout your entire mind. When you rise above the path of justice, you will cleave to freedom in all your actions. One of the saints spoke of this, saying, "The merciful man, if he be not just, is blind." That is to say, he must give to another man what he has gained by his own labors and hardship, and not what he has through fraud, injustice, and trickery. And the same saint said in another place, "If you wish to sow your seed among the destitute, sow from your own seed. For if you wish to sow from other men's seeds, know that what you sow is the most bitter of tares. But I say that if the merciful man does not rise above what is just, he is not merciful. That is to say, he is merciful who not only shows mercy to others by giving from his own means, but who also suffers injustice from other men with joy voluntarily, and not merely keeps and requires justice in his dealings with his fellow men, but also shows them mercy. When a man overcomes justice by mercy, he is crowned, though not with crowns awarded under the law to the righteous, but with the crowns of the perfect who are under the gospel. For the ancient law also dictates that a man must give to the poor from his own means, and clothe the naked, and love his neighbor as himself, and forbids injustice and lying. But the perfection of the gospel's dispensation commands the following: Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods ask them not again. And further, a man must not, merely with joy, suffer injustice as regards his possessions and the rest of the external things which come upon him, but he must also lay down his life for his brother. This is the merciful man, and not he that simply shows mercy to his brother by giving him something. And whoever burns within his heart when he sees or hears of something that grieves his brother, such a one is truly merciful, as is also the man who, being slapped by his brother, does not act shamelessly and answer abusively, thus grieving his brother's heart. Okay, so I think what I'm getting from this, there's always so much, so many different ways to look at these, but the law of man and the law of God being two very distinct yet intertwined realities, let's say. And then also something that comes to mind, I believe, is in Corinthians about being a clanging cymbal. You know, we could do all kind of great works, acts of mercy, and these types of things. Know all knowledge, know the scriptures inside and out, quote scriptures. But if we have not love and compassion, then we're just a clanging cymbal. And there was also something in here that came to mind. I guess this was at the end. And further, a man must not merely with joy suffer injustice as regards his possessions. So that was coming to mind, because he was also quoting some of the Desert Fathers, so this came to mind. I can't remember the saint or the Desert Father, but some robbers came upon his hut, and they took a bunch of his things and continued down the road. And when he returned to the hut, he saw some of his things were gone, but they'd left some things, so he gathered up what was left. And he tracked down the robbers, and he said to them, you know, you know, you took my things, but you forgot some things, so here's the rest. And they were so moved by his holiness that I think they repented and returned his things, and even maybe some of them had become monks. Also, though, but before that, The merciful man, if he be not just, is blind. That is to say, he must give to another man what he has gained by his own labors and hardship, and not what he has through fraud, injustice, and trickery. So here, if kind of like the easy come, easy go. So, if something is given to us, or we tricked people out of it, or fraud, or through injustice have received some goods, it's easy to give those away, right? Because we didn't gain them through our own sweat and labor and hardship and over a long, consistent time of effort, right? But this is what he's saying is the merciful man. That you're willing to give up that which you've worked very hard for to others, not just what you've gotten easily. And then, we're also hearing throughout this, to turn the other cheek. But he who also suffers injustice from other men with joy voluntarily, and not merely keeps and requires justice in his dealings with his fellow men, but also shows them mercy. When a man overcomes justice by mercy, he is crowned, though not with crowns awarded under law to the righteous, but with the crowns of the perfect who is under the gospel. Again, this is where I'm referring to the law of God and the law of man. And at the end, he said, and then there's compassion. And whoever burns within his heart when he sees or hears of something that grieves his brother, such a one is truly merciful, as is also the man who, being slapped by his brother, does not act shamelessly and answers abusively, thus grieving his brother's heart. So again, having compassion on others in their state of being, not judging them, even if they're not of the same faith or the same ethnicity or same nationality. Maybe we don't agree with everything they're doing. Maybe we're judging how they came to be in such a state. Those are not under God's law, although they may be under man's law, again, in trying to differentiate the difference between God's law and man's law, and the sort of justice that comes with each. Having compassion on every child of God, every creature of God, is much different than saying, well, he deserves it or he doesn't deserve it. Who are we to judge? Because imagine if we were judged with the same judgment that we judge others. Anyway, so these are some of the things. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.